And welcome back to the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, a Hey Mary Kay edition of the podcast here on a Monday. So I was going to start the podcast here, but went a different direction. So let's get to it, some free agency questions. And we will start with Carl from Morgan Hill, California. And Mary Kay, you used the phrase singing from the same hymnal earlier. Carl and you are singing from the same hymnal. He says, "Hey Mary Kay, what do you think of this offseason strategy for the Browns front office? Highest priority is obtaining a top flight receiver. This comes above any defensive acquisitions. Give DeSean an explosive receiving core, and the offense will make up for some defensive liabilities. DeSean is the Browns' largest single asset. Invest in making him shine." Mary Kay, your thoughts?
Not only are we singing from the same hymnal, it sounds like we wrote the song together, right? That's exactly how
I was going to say, is that like your pen name or your pseudonym or something?
I mean, that's exactly how I feel. And I've kind of been, putting it out there like that. I think that DeSean is their biggest investment, $230 million. When you talk about winning is a deodorant, an elite quarterback is also a deodorant. I mean, that can make up for a lot of ills, even some defensive deficiencies. So give me that amazing receiver over the defensive tackle. Like, we'll figure it out over there on that side of the ball somehow, or at defensive tackle, even if we have to draft someone else that we think is really good in the second round or whatever the case may be. I'm going for that amazing, amazing receiver. DeSean needs it, deserves it. And this is a part of, I wrote a little bit about this on Saturday. I posted, what's going to happen with Greg Newsome and Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones and some of these other players. Amari Cooper needs to make a decision this offseason on whether or not he's going to undergo surgery to repair his core muscle injury. If he does that, it's not a huge surgery. It's obviously nothing like, an ACL or anything like that. It's really about a 6-week recovery, maybe a little longer than that, depending on the nature of the injury. But if he doesn't have it repaired, and he's never had surgery before, I know he doesn't want to have surgery if he doesn't have to. Nobody would want to if you didn't have to. In the event that he doesn't undergo the surgery, I think you are, one wrong hit to the torso area, against, feeling very sore again next year. And you could see on film this past year that down the stretch, he wasn't himself, and you don't want that to happen again. So I guess hopefully for him, he'll either have the surgery or find some modality that he feels super comfortable with and gets that thing taken care of. Because if he's healthy, then you know what? I mean, he's one of the best receivers that I've ever seen play up close and personal on the Cleveland Browns. He's one of the best. Those hands, the route running. I mean, you put it all together, it's pretty darn amazing. It's like Josh Gordon-like. You know what I mean? It's like watching the best of the best that we've seen through here. So hopefully for him, he can, be super healthy next year. I don't know if boxing is the right thing to be doing right now. I don't know. Dan, maybe that hasn't even occurred to you that boxing is an odd thing to do right now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that he's able to box. Maybe it means he's feeling fine. Maybe he's good to go now. I don't know. But he did not look like Amari Cooper game to game. No. In the Washington game, he looked good. The Cincinnati game right after it happened, he couldn't separate at all. And there were a couple other games where it wasn't that extreme, but you could just tell he was not the same guy that he was the first 10, 11 games of the season.
Well, as I mentioned, we are going to the Combine, and there we will have an interview with Andrew Berry, and we will have an interview with Kevin Stefanski. And we have to remember, put it on the list, Dan, I'll put it on my list too. We have to remember to ask them about Amari's boxing. We remember that Kevin Stefanski kind of put the kibosh on Myles Garrett playing basketball in the offseason. That kind of went by the wayside after a while. But I have to wonder how they feel about the whole boxing thing. Maybe it's totally fine. Maybe it's a way to stay in shape, to work on your footwork and your agility, and they're totally cool with it. Maybe they even recommended it. Who knows? But, we'll have to see, how that sort of plays out. But the point is, I think they need at least one other Pro Bowl caliber receiver. I say it all the time. I mean, all you have to do is look down south in Ohio for what Joe Burrow has going on there. And it's not just Jamar Chase, okay? It's not. He's got a stable of really good pass catchers. Deshaun Watson needs the same.
And I was thinking about this.